welcome to the glorious Masai Mara, where we're starting off with one of the giants out here, the African elephant. And of course, true to form, I now actually need to move the car. Oh wait, hold on, no, I might need to move the car. Okay, hold on 1 second. Sorry everybody. We had a perfect open stretch of road. And unfortunately we're still in Chitwa, which means I have to duck down and then pop back up. I'll explain in a moment. Jumbo. Right. Back up again. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Senzo has made it all the way from South Africa, where he was on Djuma, to the Masai Mara. So welcome, Sens. It's lovely to have you here. So slowly but surely the full team is arriving, not counting, of course, the people that we miss so very much back on Djuma. Don't forget to send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter. This afternoon we'll be live both from South Africa and from Kenya. This afternoon I think we're going to go back to where we were this morning. This morning we were conducting signal tests, and it's all going very, very well, and it's very exciting. And we happened to come upon a hunting cheetah. We're going to race back and see whether or not she's still where we left her. Fingers crossed she will be. I hope so. It's quite a long way away, and of course there's always the fact that the distances that we have to travel are a little bit further, and the gate closes at 6:30. We're an hour ahead of South African time, so we'll have to get there, quickly have a look at her, fingers crossed, and then race back up to the top. Ah, that's lovely to hear that Tristan is back on Djuma once again. Let's go and find out whether or not he's had any luck in searching for Hosanna. Not on Hosanna's menu, partly because it's in Kenya, but also because it might just be just that little bit out of his range. As brave and strong as Hosanna has proved himself to be, I don't think hunting a giraffe is on his list of to-do things. We've spoken before about the differences in the giraffe here versus the southern African giraffe, and this Masai giraffe is giving us, well, he's keeping a close eye on us, nevertheless. But I spoke about the prominence of the bump in the middle of the forehead on this particular species of giraffe. And just look at this. Okay, this is a relatively understated example of what it is I was talking about. But obviously the ossicones, keep your head in shot, mister, while we're talking about it. Obviously the ossicones are very prominent. That's always the case with a male giraffe. But if you look at the bump in the middle of his head, that's obviously in this area, has also come in very useful in terms of being an extra weapon when fighting another male. Now the giraffe on Djuma or in the Sabi Sand or in South Africa in general, that bone is more prominent in the males than the females, but it is very, very pronounced on the species here. So much so that I once saw one that almost looked, not quite, but about half the length of the ossicones or the horns on the top of his head. So those are the ossicones. A giraffe is born with them, hence why they're not called horns. Alright, we're going to leave one spotted creature in search of the next. While we do, let's go across to the animal that Hosanna might try and catch. At this, we've got the massive male crocodile of apparently what's called cul-de-sac crossing, and I've been trying to get a photo of this particular male for ages. Usually you find, and we've spoken about this before, that each and every crossing point or sort of various stretches along the river, you've got a massive male crocodile that holds a territory. And he lives quite contentedly, for the most part, in the company of the pod of hippos that inhabit this particular part of the Mara River as well. And there we go. Hippos and crocodiles. What a thing those poor wildebeest have to face. The one thing that is in there to their advantage this year, having seen the footage, obviously this is the first time I've ever been here, but having seen the footage from last year and seen footage of the Mara River in the past and of wildebeest crossings, it seems as though the river is much, much emptier than it was before. Now that's not fantastic news for the larger part. Jumbo! Oh. All the dust in my throat. Trying to say hello to the driver driving next to me. He must think I'm completely absurd. what was I talking about? Oh yes, rivers. This river is much, much emptier than it was, and that's not great for the various animals because it means that the rains have been not what they should be. But it does mean for the wildebeest that they don't face as much of a trial as they might otherwise. Now, this is very close to where we saw the cheetah, and unfortunately, apparently she has moved off. But we're just going to bumble around here and see whether or not we have any luck with finding her. Hi. Let's see how that works out for us. But there you go. I need to get a shot of that crocodile as well, a photograph, so that we can look at identifying marks, any missing scales. But those of you who are out there, you can help me by sharing screenshots on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Right, while our croc snoozes away, I don't think he's going to be moving until the wildebeest arrived. It sounds as though Tristan, it sounded like Alice said he'd lost the road, but I don't think that's what's actually happened. Let's find out. Every now and again we get a species that you see on Djuma and a species that you see up here, and they look so completely different. And okay, these are the water, they're not the same that you see in Djuma. They don't have, they just have fluffy white bottom. I need you to do an argument for me. Not an argument. They do. Darker and red to them. Might. Your timing could not be more perfect, because look at this wonderful surprise that we have for you. Apparently, the Angama pride, also known as the Out of Africa pride, apparently, after the area that we're in, and basically right outside our camp, 4 lionesses and 1 cub. He's listening to the calls of Mum. And I say your timing could not be more perfect because they're just about to vanish off, as the lions do here, into the long grass. I'm going to stick with them for as long as possible. So we're going to do a little bit of driving. Hey, little one. You can see the excitement in its body language as it raced off. To Mum or Aunt, actually. Could be either with lions. They're equally affectionate to their cubs, and the cubs of their sisters and their daughters. Oh, beautiful. In this golden light, they looked like they were made to fit into this color scheme in this grass. Oh, look at that. Beautiful screenshots. Please share them with me. I don't have time to jump out and grab pictures, and we need as many screenshots as you can of the different lions so we get to know them individually. So please send those through on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Oh, goodness. Might have to break a cardinal rule here. I'm going to take a picture because we need them. We really do. Oh, goodness. I'm too slow. I'm too slow. I'm too slow. And now I've done something. What have they seen? 2 of the females have peeled off down further along this road. There you go. There is 1 female with young cubs, and she might be going back to the cubs in the drainage line. That's what the guides tell us. They've seen the cubs a few times. So what we're going to do is we're going to just move a little bit further forward. I know it feels a bit funny, but let's go a bit further. Try and keep up with them for as long as we can before we have to head for home. You know what? These females are going off the road into the long grass. The other female's still on the road, I hope. So I think I'm going to follow her, especially if she's the one with the cubs, although we're going to have to turn for home in the next 15 minutes or so. Oh, that's stunning. Here we go. A lion melting into the grass. it's starting to get dark here. Apparently it's getting dark on Djuma as well. Let's go across to Taylor, who has got a gorgeous sunset. We are still with the lions indeed, and we're with the two females that split away and very conveniently kept on the road because we can't go off-road in this particular area. And I'm hoping... I see suckle marks on that lioness. I definitely see very clear suckle marks on that lioness. I wonder if she's not the mother of the new cubs. Either way, she's definitely lactating. It might be an older set, it might be the younger set. But I'm definitely going to keep following her for as long as possible. I've probably got another 5 minutes. I'm getting very far from home now. Senzo and I are going to have to take that hill at quite a speed to get up there before the gate closes. Okay, I'm just going to go slowly in case she is drinking around the corner or something. Unfamiliar animals, unfamiliar territory. Just give them a little bit of space. Where'd you go? There she is. I think it's the mum. I don't know exactly where she's denning her cubs at the moment, but we will try to keep up with her for another few minutes before we turn around. And apparently Tristan also has home in mind. He's on his way as we speak.